Hi, guys. Thank you for joining. This is Essence of Life, and today we're talking about some of the ethics of yoga. I'm Amanda Armagast.
And I'm Dr. Abbasi for Essence. Amanda, that's something you understand much more than I do.
I do, and I'm going to break it down into really simple terms because it is pretty easy to understand. And honestly, it's something that I think that not all, like, you don't need to be a yogi to follow these ethics, these codes of ethics. I think that it's valuable for everyone to just remind themselves that we're all walking on this earth.
Yeah, well, when most of people, when I hear yoga, I only understand those exercises and meditation. That's all I understand about that. But yoga is much more than just those.
Yeah. Yoga is much more than exercise. It actually is, like, there's a lot of philosophy in yoga and a lot of, like, I don't want to say rules because they're not rules that you have to follow. But for example, in yoga, we're really big on energy and things like that. And if I'm putting my hands on someone, I should have good energy so I'm not transmitting that negative energy to someone. One thing we even learn is in yoga, a lot of times, if the other people, if you're a teacher and the other people that you're teaching consent, then we do adjustments. So, for example, we'll put our hand here and say, extend your head to my hand. And it's just to lengthen your body. But if I'm having a really bad day, I wouldn't do an adjustment on someone. That's a physical adjustment. I might stand in front of them and make an adjustment that they can watch me, but I don't want to transmit my energy to that person.
No, I have to confess, as a Western trained doctor, I have carried the same arrogance against anything else.
Yeah.
For a long time, I'm trained in the Western scientific method and so on, and whatever doesn't fit that, we used to just ignore. Now, recently, we just start calling alternative medicine or
alternative healing
and so on, and it's sort of, we don't say that, but all we Western trained doctors, we sort of say it with a chuckle.
Yeah.
No, but just recently, when I had really back pain and I had to take 15 minutes to put my pants on, I noticed something has to change. And I just recently started doing yoga myself. It's pain humbles people. So I started noticing that I started doing yoga and I feel much, much better myself. So you see that I think that maybe it's a late recognition that this Western medicine is not all what's out there.
And that's okay that people have their preconceived notions, because you studied for what? How many years did you study medicine?
Well, after the high school, I studied 23 years until I was a neurosurgeon, and I had to study and perform for another 3 years. So 26 years before I was a board certified neurosurgeon. So it is a lifetime.
Not only that, but a spine surgeon. So you know a lot about the body, a lot about body mechanics and things like that. So if some little floaty hippy dippy girl comes up to you and is like, hey, did you try stretching out your arms, or did you try doing this and that? You're like, I studied this, I know about this, but in reality, it's just something different. It's just something you didn't study.
We study different things, and knowledge is very, I would say, every kind of knowledge, you create a network of information. And if a new information falls within that network, you absorb it, you understand it, you put it in your daily life and daily work. But if that new information doesn't fit that network of information that you have built, like all of a sudden, talk about chakra and so on, that there is nothing in my traditional training.
But if I talk about fascia,
that's something I understand, and it's within my network of training.
And no, but with chakras and fascia, those two things tie together, because where your chakras are, there's actually more fascia in those specific areas. I know
you're out of my network, right?
Okay, enough. Okay, but anyway, so, and you haven't been, I mean, you do yoga every day. You're pretty dedicated to your yoga, but
no, I have to do that because I have pain. I have horrible back pain that if I don't do yoga, that pain gets worse. So pain has its own way to not only make you do things, but as well humbles you.
Totally. But in yoga, like we said, yoga is a philosophy. So one of the philosophies of yoga is there's 8 limbs, and the first 2 limbs are yamas and niyamas. The yamas are like how you treat other people or the way you walk around in the world. So we call them restraints. And then the niyamas are how you treat yourself and the way you see the world. So we call them observances. I want to talk about the first yama, which is called ahimsa, which is no violence. And it doesn't mean no violence as in punching people or like pushing people or anything like that. But I think that this is a good kind of reminder that even though it's no violence to others, it also is no violence to yourself. And we're very violent. I think as humans in general and where we're living, we're very violent to ourselves. I'm not, but we're very violent to ourselves. Yeah, very violent to ourselves without really realizing it. And it's okay. It's just a conscious effort to not be so violent to yourself. So I want to point out some ways that people are violent to each other. Taking the spotlight from people, which is a different yama, which is no
like interrupting you and
interrupting people or shutting down someone's idea. So if someone is really excited about something and you don't pay attention, you don't listen,
can you snap your finger?
You belittle them, that is actually violence to that person, and you doing that is actually violence to yourself.
Do you remember the network? My brain and my network, these are all new things to me. I need some time to absorb and fit this into my network of understanding and so on. But I want you to continue. I want you to add to that. Go ahead.
Okay. So also not being violent is holding space for people. So the way that Dr. Abbasi was just saying that he doesn't understand what I'm saying, instead of telling him, how do you not understand this? It's so straightforward. I'm holding space, and I'm going to just say that being nonviolent isn't specific. Like there's no specifics about being nonviolent. It's just being a good person in general. So walking around on this earth and being a good person, being conscious to the impact that you have on other people, even if it's a small impact, is important. And I think it's important for yoga philosophy because it's total health.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, but there are some other yamas. What are they?
Well, I have the yamas listed here. I can go down them if you want. So satya, truthfulness. And the yamas, they sound very specific. Like they sound non-violence, truthfulness, non-stealing, but it's actually more obscure than that. So truthfulness is speaking your own truth. An example could be if someone hurts your feelings, you should tell them that your feelings are hurt in a nice way, because that is speaking your truth. And if you hold on to this resentment or whatever it should be, that's actually creating kind of blockages within your own body or someone else.
Well, for that, we had to have a word here in the United States for that.
Honesty?
No, call it passive aggressive. If you hold resentment back and don't speak the truth about something, and then it turns into your behavior toward others, instead of talking about, okay, you hurt me now, instead of that, you just keep the resentment, and then we become so-called passive aggressive. By the way, Minnesotans are really master at that, aren't they?
I don't know. But that's another yama is truthfulness. Being true to yourself. Another way to be true to yourself or truthfulness isn't telling the truth. It's actually like, for example, I say I'm a yogi, so I should live by yogi standards. I should eat kind of a healthier diet. I should be more conscious about the way I treat myself and treat other people.
Not eating like 3 days old cold and dry pizza.
Yeah. So it's so much deeper than the surface of truthfulness. But that is satya. And then asteya, non-stealing. This is actually my favorite. Yeah, no, this is actually my favorite one. I think about this pretty much every day. So it doesn't mean non-stealing as in I'm like robbing someone or going to the store and taking items. It's actually so much deeper than non-stealing. I want to talk really a lot about this one. So non-stealing can be stealing time. So if you have a lot of meetings and someone is just just talking and not being aware of what you have to do, they're taking your time, and you shouldn't do that to other people as well. Or like taking someone's idea, taking someone's excitement.
Taking somebody credit for somebody else's idea, something like that.
Yeah, that's stealing.
Yeah.
Or taking someone's spotlight. So if someone,
it's a broader definition of stealing. Is not a traditional definition of stealing we think about.
Yeah, it's not the traditional way of stealing, but there's so many other things that we hold dear to ourselves that aren't like tangible items. So it's non-stealing, that's like non-tangible stealing. Or like if I just went on vacation and I was saying, I love Oman. Oman is the best place ever. And I can't wait to go back to Oman. Everyone should go. And then someone else is like, yeah, but have you been to Yemen? Have you tried you know what I mean? And it's taking away the excitement.
Your spotlight.
Yeah, not even my spotlight, but like my excitement. I'm passionate about something and someone's trying to almost like knock it down for something they're passionate about.
Just to be clear, Yemen is probably not the safest place to.
Well, that was just an example because I've been talking to people about Oman lately.
That is very. Lots of violence is going on right now, so we are not recommending going to Yemen at this point.
Or if I said, hey, I just went to the best sushi place, and then someone's like, I hate sushi. You don't really have to say that, and it's not benefiting anyone. It's actually more hurtful.
But it goes as well, totally again. I think it's common sense that, everybody at the end of the day, you want to communicate and build a bridge to people. Like if you say you went to that sushi place and so on, instead of saying, oh, I hate sushi, you say, what's your favorite sushi, or what especially about that place did you like, and so on. And that can give you an opening that finding common ground. Now there are lots of psychological ways, communication ways that actually people learn as well in our part of the world to building a bridge to people. Like you say, Abbasi, when you say you love or you went to that place, you love the sushi, and somebody says, I hate sushi, that's a sort of conversation stopper.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It stops the conversation there, or like makes the other person not necessarily feel like they're adding to the conversation.
Yeah, but then if you say that, even if I don't like sushi, I say, what do you like about sushi? And then you say, the rice and the fish. Oh, I love fish too. You say you're vegetarian and so on. Oh, yeah, that's a healthy diet and so on. Then you just lead from things that you don't have in common to things that you have in common to build a bridge between people.
Exactly.
And that's what the good communication is. Actually, people who go and study communication, that is one of the things they learn, to build commonality.
Find something you have in common with
and
them.
That is what, that's why people go to these groups or societies or, this hobby, places and so on. It's all about finding common ground to communicate. And let me tell you something, with everything is going on in our world, with all the wars, all the struggle that we go through, that is what I think it is the beauty of 2025, is that people find more common ground because of internet, because of TikTok, because of all this, social media. They found that they have more in common with people who we traditionally had no connection to, like before this, how often would an American really meet a Brazilian, or Brazilian would meet a Chinese person?
Yeah, before social media.
Right. Yeah. But now all of us are dancing to a Middle Eastern music, like that helicopter, that was up and so on. Or it was even a Persian song, old Persian song. It was the I siya hezengi dilamune kunkun, and no, the whole India and Pakistan and Africa and so on, they are making dances to that and so on and so forth. I think what you're saying is very valid, but it goes even beyond that. That helps different group of people who wouldn't be considered, um, even neighbors, find that they have more in common than they think.
Or even people who we might be told are enemies.
Even people who are traditionally considered as enemies, and unfortunately often neighbors,
Yeah.
are the worst enemies. Like for hundreds of years, German and French, they have been enemies. Like they have been in wars that had lasted 30 years or so. Do you know when once they start being, and now they're the closest allies, they're closest people in the entire planet probably. Do you know when they started really doing that? Once per decree, per law, they remove the borders. People start going for grocery across the border and say, wow, look at that. I really like that thing.
Yeah.
And then people from French, who that used to have total resentment, they still have to a certain degree, but that's now more like a brothers and
Yeah, it's
sisters
like a
teasing
petty
each
thing.
other.
Yeah.
That's more like brother and sister teasing each other rather than we are going to go to war with each other, which has been for hundreds of years. Now, but once the borders were gone, once they started, communicating, finding commonalities, and so this, in a further, in a extended way, is what you are discussing is what bring people, group of people, cultures together. I can stand by it.
Yeah, I mean, it's technically a yogi code of ethics, but it's how we see the world, how we move about the world and walk around the world. So another one is brahmacharya, which is moderation. I think that kind of goes without saying, but it's mostly about balance in your life, moderating things in your life. So maybe you spend too much time with your friends or you spend too much time working. It's the point of this yama is to find moderation and balance in your life.
Too much working, but if your work is your hobby and you're really happy with that,
What's that saying? It's fine. Do something you love doing and you never work a day in your life.
and here it is. So it is, moderation is now. Some people try so hard at moderation, then the moderation itself becomes the problem.
That's the law. Yeah.
Yeah. So that moderation doesn't mean that you divide your time equally among certain things and so on. It means finding a path that that it put the balance your specific personal life, and if you have really the happiness in the work you do, that is not just then work-life balance doesn't really mean something to you personally. Now, if you wake up in the morning and you go to work and say, Jesus, I have to go to work, then you do need work-life balance, because
work-life balance is all it's like beauty in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah, that's right. So it's not a specific, that even though if you have fun doing something, still genuinely fun doing something, that you have to stop there to go and do something else.
It's all balance. I love hiking. I love to go to Taylor's Falls with my dog and go hiking. We have this route that's 60 floors, but that requires moderation. If I want to go hiking 60 floors, I can't do that every single day. Also, it takes 1 hour to drive there. So if you think about it, that's like my whole day. I can't balance to do that and work and my other things. So yeah, it's definitely eye in the beholder. And then the last one is non-possessiveness. This is also kind of goes without saying, but it's not just possessiveness of your items, possessiveness of your friends, culture, things like that. It means pretty much you should be open. You should allow other people into your life. You should share with other people. If you have an idea, you should spread your knowledge and spread your love, spread your energy, things like that.
I think that these are all very, I would say, positive. I think even if you don't believe in any of these things and so on, it's just a basic human, basic humanity, I would say.
Yeah, when I started learning this in yoga, I thought when I signed up for my yoga teacher training, which I know I've talked about it before, I thought that it was going to be 200 hours of straight yoga, like 200 hours of stretching, balancing, things like that. But it's actually a lot of lecture and a lot of learning.
So you're going to be a yoga instructor?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Wow. The little bird told me that you're going to build even a community yoga here in Inspired Spine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So tell me about your plans.
Yeah, I'm hoping in April I'll start my yoga here. But I wanted to finish saying that when I'm taking my class, I'm learning a lot about pretty much how to carry myself throughout the world and how to be a better person in general. Like active listening, letting someone complete their. I'm not a good active listener, and I've really been trying to consciously work on that.
What?
Hey, I don't think you can talk. But yeah, anyway, yoga in general, I think is really great for the mind, body, and soul. But my plans for this year regarding yoga, I am a certified laughter yoga instructor. And I've done a laughter yoga training here at work, or laughter yoga
was
event.
Pretty good.
Everyone loved it.
Even the engineers.
Even the people I thought wouldn't come. Actually, there were some people, I didn't tell you this. There were some people that were planning on just coming for a little bit to make me feel good, because everyone knew it meant a lot to me. But then they got so hooked. They stayed the entire time. And I'm not going to say who it was on here. That person was the last one to leave.
Oh, wow.
But yeah.
So, that as well goes to, sometimes you think you don't like something. Now, do you like green eggs and ham? Do you like in the box? Do you like with the fox? So you don't know until you try that.
Yeah. And that's also kind of similar to our last yamas, no possessiveness. You can be possessive of your ideas and be like, no, I don't like doing that. But then if you just open yourself up, you're not being possessed by your ideas, you will learn something about yourself.
Yeah, they're really multifaceted, these things. Like, stealing is not just about possession of stealing of material stuff, or not being aggressive as well. Not being aggressive to yourself is a different level of all of these, have a different layers and levels. Yeah, very interesting.
Oh, sorry. We didn't really talk about it that much, but the self-violence or the non-violence, I want to talk about it more when we talk about the niyamas, because the niyamas are how you treat yourself. The self-violence is not a niyama. It's just a yama. But I think that it's huge because there's a lot of ways that we're violent to ourselves. We maybe don't get enough sleep at night. That's a violence to yourself.
No, she's talking about me.
I wasn't talking about you. But I get if you want me to. Not treating your body the way your body wants you to treat it is a violence to yourself. Or like, we have a lot of violent self-talk. A lot of people say mean things about themselves to themselves. That is a self-violence. And whatever you say.
That's definitely not you, Amanda.
No.
You wake up in the morning and there's no.
Everything you say to yourself is something that you're probably saying to other people. So I think that that's something that people should think about. We don't realize.
Self-love. You have it in here in West as well, that you have to love yourself. Otherwise, you're unable to love others.
Yeah, exactly. You have to love yourself so you can love others. And that sounds very mean and wrong, because a lot of people are depressed and they say like, no, I'm capable of love. But I think that they don't realize once you love yourself more, you can love other people more.
Yeah. Once you are at peace with yourself, you can spend more of your mental capacity on the others.
The patience that I give myself is the patience I give other people. And if you can't give yourself patience, you might not be able to give other people patience. Or
makes sense.
The more you judge yourself, the more you're judging others. Makes sense. My plans for yoga, Inspired Spine in general, I do plan on doing very light yoga with the patients, back, neck related yoga, or maybe some hip stuff. And then in addition to that, we're going to start having some community events, free yoga for anyone.
So stay tuned.
Yeah. Free yoga for anyone who would like to join. anyone who can fit in the space. It's not that huge of a space right now. I'm thinking I'll
So
fit.
the spaces are going away, so sign up soon.
Yeah, slots will go quickly, but the more excitement around it we have, the more classes we can have.
Excellent.
Thank you guys for watching. This was Essence of Life, and we talked about philosophy of yoga. I'm Amanda Armagast.
And I'm Dr. Abbasi for Essence. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.